Hey garage people, don't mind the hair. Coming at you from the garage today, and something I pride myself on here on a Monday is showing you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. And today we've got a little bit of each of those things, so stick along for the ride, and we're gonna go over some stuff. I'll flip you around. So as you can see right here, this is my LS1 block that's all cleaned up, and this is the case that holds the cam bearing installation and remover tool that I borrowed from Mr. State Champion Mitch Valley. Jenny and I got the cam bearings in location 1 right there, 2 right there, 3 right there, 4 right there, and then we moved on to number 5 right here. And as you can see, there's this oil gallery hole right there, and this little chamfer. Let's see if I put it like that, yeah. So that part right there, when I pushed the bearing in this way, it goes this way, this little ridge caught on the bearings very slightly, and you can see I already had sanded it just a little more smoothly there. But it somehow buckled the bearing a little bit. You could see the lines where it needs to go to. But where is my, oh yeah, so here's my bearing. And I had it in there like this, and you can see that little wave got put in there. It's very slightly wonky. So, not all's lost. All the bearings that are in there good for now. It is possible to order a single number 1 position or number 5 position bearing, so I've got that ready to check. Or in my Summit parts list, they're like $7, so not a big deal. But I'm wondering if I just installed it weird, or I mean I did smooth that part out just a little bit, and I don't think I did anything to make it worse. But I don't know. If nothing else, I think I might install the new one from this end, which you're not technically supposed to do, but I might do that. But I'm not sure. A little bit perplexing. So yeah, that's the bad. But the good is that I've got my old bearings here. They are not in usable condition. I mean, they're worn. They would work. But yeah, you can see there's a little bit of scuffage there. There's some kind of yeah, that one's worse. But the moral of the story is I can put one of these in here. I think I'm going to put the worst one in this way and see if it does the same thing. If it mushrooms like that, then I know that's the cause. And then I have the one that's the better of the two, and I can put that in this way so it does not buckle. And then I can use that bearing just for temporary mock-up purposes to get my cam in and measure my push rod length and stuff like that. And then when I go to order those push rods and the piston installer from Summit, I can put that bearing on there as well, and I'll get free shipping and everything, so that's good. So not all is lost. It was an interesting lesson to learn, I guess. It doesn't feel like a high spot right there, but I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to try it and see what happens. So, but after that, the good thing is this epoxy has dried, and so that's ready to sand. This little bit of epoxy here is ready to sand and then throw a little bit of paint on. And then this little bit on top of the throttle body is ready for paint or sanding and paint as well. And also, so is the top half of the intake. That needs a little bit of sanding and then paint, and then this is ready to dry as well, and then ready for assembly. So, some good, some bad. There's the paint there. And I guess the bearing was the ugly. Yeah, see, you can see that little woggle right in that bottom edge there. Well, lesson learned. So yeah, my plan for today is try out these new bearings, get one of those in there, and then do my sanding for my intake here, and then, oh, my toolbox is backwards. What do you know? The drawers are over here. I'll get my caliper out and start measuring all of the journals on my crankshaft there and write all those down. So I'll have all the numbers on the crank journals. Then I can go ahead and pop my main caps in and torque those down and get numbers for each of those and compare them to see if I'm in the ballpark for what I want my clearance to be. And if I'm close, that's great. I will then plastic gauge it to make sure. And then when that's all good, I can snug the crankshaft down and keep it in. And then that will allow me to mount up a single piston in hole number 1. And then that mount my new camshaft with that temporary bearing there. So then I can rotate the motor through, and using my little check springs here. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, it's bounced on the guy. Using my little checking springs, then I will check piston to valve clearance and push rod length. Or push rod length first, and once I get that established, then I can check piston to valve clearance. So basically it's kind of one step backward and then 3 steps forward in a different way. And then when I get that new bearing, I'll just pop this old one out and put the new one in, and then the rest of the motor can go back together. So I've got my main caps in here with my new bearings, and then my pistons are all in here. I'll just take piston 1 and pull the rings off of it so it can go in here while I check the numbers that I need to check. So I'm going to start with putting that bearing in, and then I'm going to do some sanding, and then after that I am going to start measuring the crankshaft. So just got a movie downloaded. I'm going to queue up the Blues Brothers. We're going to watch a little bit of that until Pat McAfee comes on. And then I eventually got to run to the grocery store and to O'Reilly's to pick up some transmission fluid, a little bit of clear coat spray paint, and a quart of motor oil for the Grand Prix. So, and some gasoline for the car too, because she's getting low. So yeah, a couple things to do today. Yeah, then after that stuff is kind of established with the crank and everything, then the motor can start going back together in earnest. I'll put my not my freeze plugs in, but my coolant passage plugs, and get the seals installed on the front and rear main covers, and crack open the box of gaskets over there too. So yeah, stuff's coming together. My goal is to get the intake painted and done today as well, so then that'll be ready for later this week. And then once I have all the measurements on this thing, and I get that bearing ordered, then it can start going together, because once the numbers are good, then we're ready to rock. So yeah, anyway, mistakes happen, but not a big deal. Live and you learn, I suppose. So fun stuff. Come back at me later. I'll let you know what's going on. See you in a bit. Hey friends and garage fans, coming back at you. Got my lower intake manifold here, lower half of the intake manifold rather, and all my runners in here. Everything with this is done, and I've got the little screws in here to assemble the runners on each side. So I'm gonna clean this up and get the dirt out of these junk. Clean that up, polish all that. Yeah, get that dust cleaned up. But then other than that, I got the old cam bearing back in the block just fine. This stuff is up on the stand here, so it is in the path of the heater, so it can dry real good. That is looking awesome. Oh yeah. I'm gonna let this stuff dry real good overnight, and then I got a little bit of clear coat left that I'm gonna spray on the top of it, and then that'll be done. Got my throttle body here. That's starting to crinkle up nicely. Covering up the, just like that on the top. But going incognito. So that's cool. And then I got my nitrous plate right here. Same thing, wrinkle black on top. So that's gonna blend in real nice. I mean, it's still, you'll still know what it is if you know what you're looking at. Like, there's gonna be lines going to this, but you know, it's gonna be good for me. I got my sway bar attached. Front sway bar is on with the new sway bar rubbers and the new end links. They are not tightened down yet because obviously, as you can see, these shock towers need to go whoop, way up there and way up here before they fit into the car. And so once they're in, I'll tighten all those down real nice. That's pretty simple. The only other thing that goes on there is this little bracket. Fits on, I think it's on the driver's side. I don't know, I can't exactly remember. I'll have to go back and look. But there's just a little bracket that fits over one of the posts, and then a little nut goes over the top of that, and it just contains the whole thing. So for all intents and purposes, I'll just flop this out of the way, and then this is ready to receive a motor, which is pretty cool. So obviously still got a ways to go for that, but the goal is to get those painted, get this thing done. That is done. I got my caliper here. I got my engine build sheets right there. There's my crankshaft. So I think I'm gonna have a little fun and clean this off and get those runners on. And then I will put the crank up here and just start measuring everything. I'll measure all the journals, so all 5 mains and all 8 rods. I'll measure all those and write them down. And then eventually I will use my little gauges to assemble the main caps and the piston rods with the new, or the connecting rods with the new bearings. And then measure the interior diameter of those, and then we'll work out the difference. And hopefully it'll be close, and then we'll plastic gauge it to confirm, and we should all be happy. So that's nice. And then the other thing I'm going to do is use my little gauges to get a quick read on the bore diameter of each cylinder, and then just quick measure the pistons with a caliper to see my approximate piston to wall clearance, just for shits and giggles, even though I already have the rings gapped. So I mean, it kind of is what it is at this point, and it's the same pistons I took out, so it's not like it's a big deal. I just I'm gonna know for my own sake, so that'll be fun. So yeah, I think I'll probably put the car back up in the air. I can put this thing back underneath. And then I have, and then I'll lower it back down so I can keep blasting on it with the heater. Blasting on those parts, that is. But yeah, nothing else is really under here, so that's good. Eventually I will pull out my engine parts here and start installing seals and gaskets on what I can. Just a couple of things like the plugs that go in the valley cover here, and then the front and rear main seals I can install. And then just check my gaskets, which are, I got my exhaust manifold gaskets there, and then my head gaskets in that black Cometic package under there. But then there's a big Felpro, this brown one, that has all the other gaskets in it, like the front and rear timing covers and the oil pan and all that stuff. So yeah, I am going to now, like I said, put this stuff kind of back out of the way a little bit here, and then yeah, plug away on this intake manifold, and then when that's done, I will move on to the business of measuring stuff. I also ran to O'Reilly's earlier and got a quart of oil for the Grand Prix because she needed it. But then also I got my transmission fluid for when I eventually put that in. So I officially have all the fluids now, which is sweet. I also rented cylinder heads. I also put to rent, or in order to rent rather, a tool to install the harmonic balancer on the crankshaft in here, or on here eventually, but that's down the line. I think it was like $50, and if I return it, it's free, but I can keep it if I want. So if it's a brand new piece, I might keep it because those are pretty nice tools, and they're about that expensive, I think. So we'll see. But yeah, this is looking pretty. I got the nice little red accents there, and there. Beautiful Bilstein shocks, looking real official, and incognito black springs. I am loving this new subframe setup. I think this is going to be amazing. The only thing I do realize that I tightened these all the way down, and the brackets on the bottom here before I had the full weight of the car on this axle. So I think eventually when I have the wheels on, I'll probably jack it up in the air and then loosen these bolts here just so that can spin if it needs to. And then when it has the full weight on, I'll tighten them down. But we'll see. I think it'll probably be fine. I greased them up real good. So yeah, anyway, I will come back at you when I've got my runners on my manifold. I'm really excited for you guys to see how that looks when you shoot straight down the barrel there. Yeah. So, good stuff. Come back at you soon.
Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis. Yeah.
Alright guys, finally, intake runners are all bolted in and tightened down with Loctited bolts. You can see right through the plenum there. Yeah, look at that. That looks real nice. Got the reinforced ridges up on top. You can see how big this plenum is. I can get my arm all the way to the back wall there. So, that should flow just dandy. I messed around a little bit with these adapters for my new LSA fuel injectors because they're the shorties versus the LS1 varieties are the long ones. So I got these adapters here. They came with my fuel injectors. These are the electrical adapters for the harness. Those are the injectors. So these are the blue O-rings that came with the Fast. And I did a test fit in here and they fit very tightly, which is good. They'll definitely need to be greased up before they get installed in the final form. I don't know if the O-rings on there will fit in these or if I will need to replace them with these O-rings. I'm kind of thinking I'll need to use these ones. Just because they came with this kit. So yeah, that's the plan there. And then these, the top ones here, the blue ones, so these orange ones will probably get replaced with these black ones. And then these blue ones will have to get test fit in the fuel rail, which is sitting right in there. So a couple little things with that, but then they're good to go. I'll put the fuel rail on the intake when I have the lid done. That's the only thing left. Obviously this is all ready to rock. I got my hardware in here that bolts it to the motor, and then these 5 bolts hold the top and the bottom halves together, so I'll just have to put a little RTV around the corners and pop this on and tighten it down. But as you can see, this is still drying. It's not quite wrinkly yet, so I got that let sit dry overnight, and then I'll put some clear coat on it and let it dry all day tomorrow, and then that will be ready to go together. I can put the two halves together and then go about getting my fuel rail situated, so then that'll be another part that's multiple little parts combined into one big part. Because then once that's together, put these two things together combined with these couple of things right here, and I will have my throttle system all mocked in and solidified, ready to go. So that little bit of paint is drying on there, and we got some paint drying on here. So yeah, we got some Blues Brothers on the TV. So yeah, today we got intake done. These things were final painted. I got the front sway bar on, ready to mount up to the mounts, which are there, and then right there, that little box across the way. So those will get mounted eventually, obviously not right now because this whole thing has to get the motor on it first. But once this intake and fuel rail situation is buttoned up, then that'll give me some more workspace, and then tomorrow I can measure every journal on this crankshaft here, and then I can mock up, I got the torque wrench here, I can mock in all the main studs, or all the main caps with the new bearings and measure them, and then I can clamp down all my pistons with the, there we are, all my pistons with their new bearings inside the rod caps, and see what the ID is on them and compare that to the OD of the rod journal and get my clearance there. So, and then we'll check them with the the plastic gauge as well. I'll probably measure them all, and then when I bolt them together to final check it, I'll just use the plastic gauge to confirm. So that's the plan. But yeah, I think I might hang it up here for the day. And then tomorrow when this is dry, that'll go together. I'll take a bunch of measurements, and then assuming everything's good, the crankshaft will go back in, and then the cam will go in as well, and then I can start mocking up the valve train and the piston to valve clearance, get an idea of that, and check pushrod as well. And then once that's finally ordered, or once that's confirmed, then then that's the last variable of the engine that I got to deal with. And then it can start going back together. So I got all my block plugs here, and then a ground bolt, and then the bolt for the cam position sensors. So those will all get, the seals will all get installed with thread locker, or thread seal on their positions on the block, and then I'll put those other bolts in just so I know where they're going to be for in the future. And yeah, then the only thing before the pistons go back in is I gotta order that ring compressor so they go in real nice, but that will go along with the push rods and that new cam bearing, which is in the number 1 spot right here. This is the mock-up old one, so I'm just gonna hose it down with the cam and lifter installation lube here, and then mock in my BTR cam, and go from there. And that may be as soon as tomorrow, we shall see. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a day for now, and yeah, tomorrow we'll come back first with assuming this is all good, I'll get a clear coat right away in the morning to let it dry as soon as possible, and we will go from there. So yeah, I'm gonna leave the heater turned up. For now, I got it at 64 in here, because it blows right on this real nice. But then before tonight, I'll come out here and turn it down. If it's tacked up enough, I might put the clear coat on, but I think I'll wait till it's like properly dry and then clear coat it. So, yeah, so far so good. I'll probably bring this inside overnight actually to let that do its thing. These ones are so small. They are what they are. But yeah, caliper in there, tool. Journal notes, pen, crankshaft. I'll spend a couple hours up here measuring stuff and torquing stuff, and then we'll be one step closer. So I'm just thrilled to see how well this fit together. Side note, when you are assembling these things, make sure you lube the crap out of these little O-rings that go on the end of the runners, this little orange thing down there. They really don't like to squeeze into their little junction there unless they're real slippery. So, but yeah, they fit they fit together real well. So, and my cylinder 2 right there, cylinder 1 right here. 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8. So yeah, she's solid. Oh yeah, super stoked with that. All right, well, if that's it for today, I will see you guys tomorrow, and we will let you, I don't know, critique where I'm at, pass your judgment, and we'll update you tomorrow. Probably do that short as well that I've been talking about for, a week. Or actually like 2 months if you really consider it, but yeah. Booze Brothers, engine parts, fun stuff. See you tomorrow.